welcome back once again, everyone. I'm Yingsu. I've got Brent and Achilleos with me. It is happening, guys. It is happening. We might finally have a proper upset on our hands in this tournament for the first time.
It's looking incredible right now. I mean, like Tom was saying, if you told me that they were going to take a map off DRX coming into this, I might believe that. But the fashion in which they were able to do it was just so damn impressive. A very dominant first half there for the side of Talon. A little bit rocky. DRX were starting to find their footing, but they were able to kick the legs out from beneath them again to just go ahead and close it.
Yeah, I mean, I think this was a Talon that had literally come into this learning from the mistakes in the previous map of Fracture, even though they won it last time they played against MIBR. But they definitely came in with different looks, different ideas of how they wanted to play it against DRX, and they made a lot of really nice adjustments as well. But overall, there was no shortage as well of miracle plays. I mean, Sushi Boys pulling out multiple of them. This guy had 5 first kills.
And only 1 first death.
In this game, 1 first death. He was playing out of his mind. But there was a real turning point in here, and it came off the back of those timeouts as well. Zeus took one, round 18, immediately into the A split. I was screaming on the second half, just begging Talon to take A more and put pressure into them, because it felt like their combo is so good for taking that A control just through holds. And then round 19 was another example of it, where they ended up faking pressure towards B. They got a first kill. They used the lockdown as well, and then they late round pivoted to it. But a lot of that success in that second half came from those adaptations and finally recognizing that they could take that A control.
Well, it was a really good start for the side of Buzz in those first couple rounds. Was able to find a lot of value with the pain shells, but then kind of just started slipping away from him. And Garnet, my God, what an incredible performance from him. On the defending side is where he was actually getting the most work done as well with that Neon. Him getting into the sites, being able to really blitz through and start those retakes off for the side of Talon were just instrumental. So a huge performance from him. And we need to see Buzz get ready to step up, because now we've got Ascent on the horizon. We're anticipating that he's going to be going back over to something like the Jet, which Garnet has also shown that he is incredibly cracked at. So this is going to be a hell of a battle.
Yeah, might see that head-to-head just continue getting into Ascent as well, but we said it in the pre-show, the rookies needed to step up. They needed to hand it to the veterans that they're going to be going up against in the form of DRX, and they've certainly done so far. At least Garnet has. He's been pulling his weight and more. Yeah,
speaking of Garnet here, he is in the AIM Lab shoot-around before we get into the next map, but also, I can't help but feel his Neon reminded me a little bit of RB's Neon back in the days. Do you feel like it was a bit of a mistake to put him over to that Omen, debuting it here, and not playing the Neon?
I do kind of agree. I mean, granted, there's a lot you can study, because they have played that RB Neon Fracture so many times in the past. But I think that it looked, I think that it would maybe deliver a different result. They are so very comfortable on it. I think you could have just as easily moved, shifted the chamber out of the composition and had Buzz there with the Killjoy, which is something that he has played an immense amount of in the past.
But I think they've just been wanting to prioritize Buzz on that primary duelist right now, rather than putting him on it. I mean, Buzz can play a ton of roles as well. And honestly, I've liked RB when he's been flexing now. He feels more like the glue of this team, where he just fills in the gaps of what they need. And it feels like he's been enabled a lot more, where that pressure's not on him to frag as much as the primary duelist. So, I don't know, it's a lot of hindsight, right? Saying, maybe we should have, changed up the comp, and maybe RB shouldn't have been playing the Omen because he was bottom fragging. But the comp was pretty nice. I think the comp has legs itself. It's just that it's clear that DRX maybe just don't have that much time playing with it.
There were a lot of crazy moments in that match, and let's revisit one of those in the Verizon high-speed moment. This one goes to Cruz. Of course, he's IGLing as well, Bren. I know he wasn't feeling great either, but my God, he's having a great tournament.
Yeah, currently the guy is a bit under the weather as well. That's why you're seeing him all bundled up. But, I mean, just...
You wouldn't be able to tell.
Yeah, that sickness buff, I mean, it's supposed to be a debuff, but the guy is coming out, he's pulling out plays like this. You can't really complain, can you? And, like I said, like we've been mentioning, right? The guy's been IGLing for them. I don't really know in what capacity he's still being able to continue that when the guy is a bit under the weather, but he's putting up big numbers. He's pulling out big plays as well. Super reminiscent of his Haven performance, like debut, honestly, at Lock-In that we saw from him playing the Omen and just making massive, massive impact plays for his team.
Yeah, it's an incredible performance from him to start things off, and this is now just the 5th map that DRX have ever dropped to another Asian team. And in VCT events. So this is truly going to be maybe a historical moment here for Talon if they can finish the job.
Well, the good news is I'm going to play into some of that DRX copium and hopium, because, Seth, if it was any other map that is coming up, maybe we can already jump on the train of Talon's Cinderella story, but it is DRX's Ascent.
It is, and it is a little bit more concerning than it normally would be, just because they dropped it to PVL. But again, I would suspect that they have kind of rectified the mistakes that they were making on that map. I also would have said the same thing. I did say the same thing about the comp that they chose for Fracture, so who really knows what's going to happen. But yeah, I think we're going to see some tighter play. Buzz going back over to Jet should be just full form comfort for him. I mean, just comparatively, you've got 130 games played on Jet for Buzz. Going into that map, only 14 on Rings. So it wasn't something that he had played a ton of. This is right back to being cozy at home.
Predicting that that Jet head-to-head as well. We'll see if that battle between the rookie and Yvette continues.
Well, we're heading to the Prime Gaming Agent select here. It does feel like in the off-season, Brent, Sushi Boy's leaned more over to that Cypher on Ascent rather than the Killjoy. I wonder if he's going to do that here.
And the Cypher could be a good option, honestly, as well, because it gives you some nice kill trips. But Killjoy's just too good right now, like especially Ascent. I mean, Killjoy is getting playtime even during the chamber meta on Ascent as well. That tells you how good, you know, she is just as an agent to be played. And yeah, we see Garnet and Buzz going to be matching head-to-head on the Jets as well, so that battle continues.
Yep, heavy info comp here for the side of DRX. You've got that Fade, you've got that Sova, lots of scouting that can come through. This is just a bread and butter comp for them, but it is something that Talon will have seen in the past. Have they counter-stratted it?
Well, it's the 10th time the DRX have played this comp on Ascent. They have to win here if they want to stay in this tournament. Tom and Mitch, let's see what they can do.
Well, it certainly is a big comeback needed from them, but one we've seen before. The reverse sweep from DRX, Tom. Are you believing?
I don't want to say yes, but I feel like I am. Like, we're going into Ascent. It's still probably with that old Xerxia core. This was my favorite map to watch them on. They had so many cool little like flash plays off contact. They had a load of ideas, and it was a map they managed to beat some really top teams on. I think you've got the likes of FPX at Champions. You've got Optic when going back to Reykjavik. You've even got Gambit at the Champs in 2021. They beat a lot of good teams on this map in the past. It's just whether or not this iteration of the roster can take down DRX, who have always been good at this map.
Well, that's exactly it. But look, with a map under their belt already, Talon got to be feeling good about their prospects. We saw DRX win both pistols in the previous game and still failed to walk out with the map victory. That is crazy to see, and Talon will be starting this one off on the defensive side. Heavy stack on B. Late rotate from Foxy to spot the mid push, but DRX are running, by the looks of it, right into this stack. They've left the spike outside B. We don't expect a push just yet with Mako's position.
This stack is nuts. It has the full setup of Killjoy's utility, the turret playing contact on the stairs, so that when they dash into the site, it's basically just going to be a three-man stack up. They've got Foxy trying to spam on the cross, and he's doing damage. Even going to get the headshot onto one of them, and now they've realized that there's a stack on this side of the map, but it's too little too late. They're stuck in the mud.
Fantastic play by Talon. They expected DRX to take it this way. Read like a book. And the Sheriff spams even coming through. Attempted wall bangs here, and the pistol stack still alive. He's going to try to get himself onto the site, but there are so many players to deal with on the way through. Still with an option to take it elsewhere. 30 seconds on the clock, but they've committed so heavily at this point. And in the end, the spike will be dropped, leaving Mako to clutch it. 1 versus 4. He's already got the first, but that is where he'll be finished. Talon have found a pistol, Tom. This is not looking any better for DRX.
What a read. Like, to not only have 3 players in the back towards the boathouse, have your Killjoy utility. So it's not even like they were using that utility to try and delay and slow people down for rotate. No, that was their whole plan. Their whole plan was B, and they just read what DRX were going to do. Someone has been watching that tape.
Oh, that they have. And for DRX, you run into that opening pistol and feel like they expected everything that you were going to do. They predicted it perfectly. It's something that can certainly start to get into your head, and it feels weird to be starting map 2 and talking about Talon's conditioning, about the mental situation DRX are in. I expected to see it the other way around. This is an aggressive push down mid. Talon are swapping sides entirely. They've decided that they actually wanted to start on the attack here. They must have made a mistake during the veto.
You have to remember that because they're going with this triple initiator composition, they don't have a sentinel. So that's actually one of the biggest dangers of the comp that DRX is running. It's the flank. And right now, they've just got them surrounded. They had to try and attack out. Well, DRX will take a plant, but that's absolutely all they're going to get. Another Prime Gaming flawless round coming out of the likes of Talon. And as said, thus far, they have had the read.
They avoided anybody falling here. A flawless round. Not committing an A main hold. Everybody on the same page. They're fighting for short. They're having their flank come through. and then they're playing passive towards the spawn. You know, it's remarkable. Even Garnet's having that get out of jail free dash stops him from being traded, and at any point there for DRX, they're as a group, they're looking forward and attempting to kill the first player they see to take those trades. They couldn't find a single one there. It's unbelievable. What a start, 2-0.
This is where DRX need a response. Barely done any damage thus far in this game, and they have been read like a book. Foxy already pushing very deep. They did this on the last map, but pressuring on Fracture is one thing. Pushing this deep on Ascent is another thing altogether, and Garnet is just hoping for a miracle shot of 2, but you can see the hesitation on the other side of things. Gonna force him back with the drone and take that control eventually.
Well, I think he actually hit the top button on Buzz. You know, it was close. You got to give that Marshall some credit, just a pixel or 2 away from the kill. DRX obviously up against very weak weapons in this round. Only the one rifle in the form of the Bulldog on Cruz, and that's on the A side. So for the most part, this should be a very easy round. They've certainly found the weakness of that B site hold. Although Sushi Boys has been remarkable before, he has to hit absolutely everything here. And nothing will be found waiting for some utility to come his way, but it was just Buzz dry swinging the corner.
Yeah, they gambled again. That seems to be what a lot of this defense is about, especially in the early rounds. They went for the A stack, and this time DRX have waltzed their way into B. Now with these sort of weapons, you've got a choice to make. You can try and battle back in, have a chance at winning the round, but a diminished one, or you try and make this as costly as possible.
Well, on their way back in, Talon have a lot to deal with, and for them, just, well, trading out the weapons should be the goal. They get nothing. 2 quick kills. The players left to just attempt a few spams through smokes, perhaps as they're exiting. In fact, are they even looking to fight Foxy here? They've spotted him, but no, they'll take it towards main. Let him die to the spike. Certainly seems to be the correct play.
Yeah, don't give any weapons up. Don't give him anything extra for this round, and while DRX are going to come in with a Prime Gaming flawless of their own, keeping every single member of the team standing, and it'll give them a very good stance going into this next purchase. One thing they won't have, however, Mitch, is going to be that operator. Garnet's going to be pulling that in, a chance for him to really fight mid, and that's the thing.
Sushi
We've already
boys.
seen that happening over the last one.
Oh, Sushi Boys. What weapon is that in your hand? He's been saving up his credits a little bit,
It's
Tom.
this contact play. We saw this from them, like, I think, over a year ago. It's like basically using the turret so that if anybody walks in that direction, he's just going to spam the living hell of them. Well, he's going to do it anyway at the beginning of the round.
Garnet's operator in hand, looking for a fight on mid. They're aggressively pushing up mid. Flash ready to come out. Push should follow. And it's off contact that they see. This is a smart strat. And the Odin is actually pushing B main. They've spotted so many players on mid. The call is made. Let's just go. Let's take the fight to them. They attempt to push on short. They're a little bit late to spot Cruz. He's good for 1. And Sushi Boys flank, okay, not going to serve the purpose, but that short hold has done enough here. They're set up for a 3v2 retake. And in all seriousness, the Odin combined with Foxy's utility. Oh, never mind. Foxy's utility is gone.
It still leaves Zest low, but this definitely becomes much more of a troublesome retake, trying to get back in that little bit too soon, and 2 weapons that definitely aren't the best for retaking. An Odin alongside an operator. Still a little bit wary of Heaven, though. They haven't spotted Garnets just yet, and already being forced out. Marco goes for the peak, and now it's left on to Zest. 30 HP, just trying to hold on, and the rifle's already been retrieved, but he's dancing around the side, spotting his opponent, just trying to buy that little bit of extra time.
11.
Even lower he goes, but he's still going to take it home for DRX. Zest with a 4K and a second round on the board.
Unbelievable stuff for Zest. That clutch will get you right back into the game. Talon, just that little bit too greedy. A 3 versus 2, and the fade. Obviously having the position, just thought, I can break this, I can get the kill, and look how close it was.
Yeah.
Devastating. But in the end, just 11 HP makes all the difference. We even saw the swap from Garnets over to the rifle, knowing that player had such low HP. We saw the swap from the Odin to the rifle, but both shot off first in order to tell them, hey, there's no operator, guys. It's all good. Go ahead and swing. And that did get the kill in the end. But 11 HP, a small margin, and that's all that defines it. Talon now neck and neck, and DRX, they've lost the pistol, but they're back in control of this game. They should have the lead here. Remember, as you can see, Talon don't have a lot to work with, just a few pistols, and already the element of surprise in B main is clearly not with
surprise elsewhere. They pushed all the way through A.
There we go.
At the top of mid, but they're never going to check top mid. Why would they expect anybody to be this far forward? Now the flanks coming through the spawn as well. The rest of the players can start to really hold in towards this B site. It's just going to come down to timing. And Crew's now spotting them going in this direction. They can try and stack the remaining players up and buy some time. The smoke even coming through might delay them at least that little bit longer.
Certainly while they set up the utility to breach through, they're now grouped. Flash is going to come in, the push is going to come through. That's from the attackers. They both actually flashed at pretty much the same time, but the defenders are so cautious about going in until that flash comes through. Garnet's then able to take a double on the back of that utility. A triple, in fact, the Blade Storm stopping them in their tracks. Talon with a remarkable thrifty round. And DRX, they might get a 4K clutch to equalize, but they will not take the lead.
This team is just brilliant. They're brilliant. They're reading DRX so fantastically well. These deep pushes into A, because again, they don't have a Sentinel. They don't have that utility that they can place to hold onto their flanks, so they are just bullying with it. They are taking so much control early. They then get that Blade Storm on from the first kill, and then they have a paranoia from behind just to leave everybody blind. It's fantastic from Talon and DRX. They're going to have to change up here. They're going to have to slow down and play more default, and they will! It's so sick! Every setup is sublime. Crew's even TP behind them, but DRX recover.
All of a sudden, this is a game yet again, but in the corner, Sushi's caught. Not this time. All on to Foxy in a 1 versus 3. DRX with the immediate response to that early round aggression that, well, I thought had really sealed this round's fate, but apparently not. What a recovery.
Oh, Foxy. Not much of a chance here. A player sat passive, waiting in the back. Stuns being put through, a smoke to try and run past as well. The rest of the players are just sat outside, almost waiting for this time to tick through, not giving him anything, not giving him a chance. And Buzz, pretty much the savior of this entire round. I will say though, that setup was gorgeous. Just using his own smoke, having the Haunt over the top. But the thing that's even more perfect, and it's actually kind of what bit them, the idea was sublime, it just didn't quite work. They used them from the shadows to TP into the spawn at the same time. So while all of this havoc is going on, a player is then behind them. But some of their own utility catching off and just stopping them as they try and peek back through.
Cruz did also massively whiff. I think he shot like 15 bullets and didn't take the kill on a guy that didn't see him there. So, you know, in those sort of moments, you can't really account for whiffing.
Yeah.
But certainly the push up, and we've seen it before earlier in this tournament, a similar strategy with a recon dart. Talon attempted a pistol push here, but that has been put to bed immediately. And even Sushi Boy's getting spotted here on the B site. They know what they're in for.
That's the thing. DRX is starting to adapt. They know in these sort of rounds that normally you want to group up. Normally, oh, that's nasty. Normally you want to try and play this one as a 5, so that versus pistols, versus weaker weapons, you can easily trade out and not risk any guns. Well, you can't do that versus Talon. You don't have that flank watch, so you have to just double up, hold the map, watch for their aggression, and now the real thing will be, what else have Talon got? They have shown their hand. They've shown some of their ideas to DRX, and DRX have taken them and used it against them.
I was about to say, if this man was about to nightfall A main, then we should probably check in PC. I don't know what's going on, what he could see ghosts on his monitor, but it's a little misclick. You know where he is at this point, 60 HP. Credits aren't that bad for the rest of the team. You know, he can try to take some weapons out of DRX's hands, but yeah, his chance is not too high. That is the lead back in DRX's hands. They have found it. You know, this is a team that started out the series with a 2-0 lead, a 4-2 lead. And I think this is the first time they've had it back since.
Prime Gaming flawless once again. It does almost feel like right now DRX, they're the structure, they're the calm, and they're just trying to fight against that storm. And if they can, they'll win this map, maybe comfortably. But it does seem like the depth of ideas for Talon, I think credit needs to go to Zeus, to Cruz, who I think is now calling for the squad. They have got so many cool little things that they're throwing in here, but they are still behind.
Prowlers traded out on both sides of B. A very interesting setup when you take a look at Talon's Killjoy in particular. Obviously, when you look at RB having his ultimate, makes sense that you're not going to be playing too close to your utility. The turret holding mid, the alarm bot for short, and nanoswarms on B.
There's 5 ults here for DRX. You have to expect this is a round they're going to take. Do they expect the player in the corner? They've dashed past, but they've not cleared it. A chance for Jitboy, he comes out with 2. But even still, Buzz is doing well to trade things back. Looking a lot better on the Jet at the moment.
Oh, good kill. Fantastic stuff from Sushi Boys. Damage done. And it makes it all too easy to close it out in the end. 4-4. A good response. And look, a different feel, a different vibe in that round for DRX. One that I think they'll be hasty, or they won't be too hasty to go back to.
Yeah, I think the fact, though, that you sort of had a good push again, like just having a player in this corner, it was like they expected this push to come through short. Even with the Nightfall that gives away, or should have given away where he was, they don't check it, they don't clear it properly. And obviously, I don't really feel like it's the job of Buzz. He's got to dash into the site. Somebody needed to clear that on the way back through, so a few mistakes, and I think that was the same on the last map as well. DRX not looking quite as clean as usual. And again, we've got this mid setup based around that operator. But remember, the last time they had this smoke, they flashed through it.
Recon gone out, didn't catch him. Okay, eventually the third piece of spotting utility finds Garnets, and he's been headshot through the wall. Left to 40 HP. A push comes out of it, though, and he's able to find one. Flash down low, still going to blind the bullet pop. Cruz has supporting fire. This is a fantastic hold. Talon dominating middle. And although Matt goes walk through on A, well, that was maybe not the play, Cruz, I'll be honest, ambitious as it was. He's still got a 1v4 on his hands, and these players are lined up in a firing squad. Lead back in Talon's hands, and it is going to be a scrappy end to this half.
See, this is what I remembered from this Xerxia core. This is what got me excited about this team in general, to maybe catch a few teams off guard, is they are so good at these mid crunches, and it creates a scrappy environment. And that's not where DRX thrives. They're one of the most structured teams we have in the entirety of the VCT, and a team right now is going, oh, you want to take mid? Well, how about here's an ult peek, here's a flash, here's another peek, here's a paranoia, here's another flash, and you see what the Buzz's attempt there was to updraft and dash onto the box just to try and clear them from that corner. They are forcing them into their own game and forcing DRX out of their comfort zone.
The first time out for DRX in this map, and certainly going to be a lot of things to talk about over on that side. They're coming into this round with a lot of disadvantages. And this is the kind of one where on the attack side, typically you would want to play it as an info finder. That's how we see a lot of teams work, but the reality is Talon's defensive sides have been very, very hard to read. I mean, they are changing
like this
constantly.
Round, they all pushed A. Next round, they challenged mid, and the round after that, one of them hid in a corner on the A side. So what are we going to do this round, Termy? And he's going,
Let's see where their turret is. Did they put it mid? Did they put it A? Or did they put it B? And next round, it will be somewhere else yet again. Like last round, for example, you had the alarm bot, right, on A short. You had the turret on mid. This time, again, shifted back to that B setup. And we're just going to see this constantly. They do not want DRX to be able to read them. And so far, they've been doing a very good job at making that a difficulty. You're gone. You're done, Shirley. Just about.
Oh, it doesn't matter, though. Oxy manages to get a pre-fire in. He's got his Nightfall. He can't afford to go down here. And, I think Cruz has just spotted Mark on the other side. Now, bear in mind, he only has a pistol. Nightfall goes through. He's down to just 15 HP, but he will make his way back to the site. The problem is they have no extremities left. They are stuck within B.
Well, the nade at least to clear the corner. They're going to be quicker on focusing up on the site. Good flash through, but there's a player right beside him. Buzz hugging the wall, able to grab one. What was that? A shorty attempt. They're all lit up on DRX. 1 HP on Buzz. Seized, but he's surviving for now. They're taking their time on the way back through. That might be time enough for DRX to set up to take these fights, but it's Stax left alone to hold on, and he cannot do it this time. The time plentiful for Talon to finish off this defuse, and they've at least guaranteed themselves 6 at the half, at even scoreline at worst.
There are times where I wonder if they know what's going on. Like when you see a player like jump in and another dash through and just fighting around this Cosmic Divide. All in all, it's not an awful round for DRX considering the investment, but they threw some ults into that. They expected to have the opportunity to actually be able to win one, and although, sure, you saw a Nightfall go through on the other side, well, now they got a Blade Storm. Now they've got themselves a lockdown, and honestly, after what Cruz attempted in the last round, for the first time ever, I might be excited to see what's going to happen with a From the Shadows.
Oh, here we go. I see players outside B, and I see a man with patience holding an Odin. The worst part about this strategy is he is playing contact off his turret.
Yeah.
That might be the...
Or Foxy.
Well, that's true. And indeed, there's the Prowler on the other side coming back. Still no spams. They are holding this in their back pocket, waiting for DRX to make the move through to reveal that they've actually got the ability to wallbang to take those fights. And it's actually leaving DRX in a spot where they're waiting for the B main aggression. Because of the utility that came in earlier, and now I think they'll start to make noise elsewhere. They want someone to push B, but that's just never going to happen with the setup that's in play.
Oh, they did have a push on the other side of the map. The patience of DRX almost rewards them, but this could be a very nasty surprise. They actually sent 2 players, and now the peek through from Garnet. He's not low, but he's not going to land the shot either. They're going to pressure onto short, but the paranoia is going to leave them. Nion completely blind. A second flash going through, but they spam it, and Buzz and RB combined to get a double opener. The only player anywhere near now is Garnet. Well, no one's fighting him at this point.
Well, he has the operator that they saw earlier on, and they've heard the Blade Storm pop. They know this is a man with a deep utility belt. Facing him on range is almost certainly a death sentence. Now spotted to still be on main. It's good info to work with. They have Boss Zest on the other side, and here's the Odin. Blind fire, of course, with no utility to reveal just yet. Has to rely on just finding it through look and predicting their positions, the lockdown to force them out, and right into the hands of this operator. Focused in, but they've got a nice spot to play in the smokes, keeping them alive for a moment. He's waiting for the angle, and he won't land a shot. The defuse is underway, though, and they need to run it down halfway before RB can land that kill and put 5 on the board for DRX. Not down and out of this half yet.
Still close for comfort, especially with that lockdown forcing them all the way back, but DRX do well. They burn out nearly all of the ultimates on the Talon side and look ever closer to bringing this back to a 6-6 scoreline. And from expectations for both of these teams, I kind of expect to see more on that defensive side, especially with what Talon has had in the past. That's where they've really thrived. So now we'll see if they can at least convert the half. Weaponry somewhat in the bin, and Mitch, they're going to take a timeout.
No, I don't think it's too much of a surprise. Just look even at the previous map for DRX. Talon kept it close the whole way, but it was the rifle rounds where they were winning time and time again. DRX have lost a pistol here. They're still in it. Can't let Talon walk away with this towards the end, but for Talon now gathering themselves in the last couple of moments. They have a few ultis that could come online here for DRX, and I think, you know, Buzz, Stax, both almost being on theirs, RB 2 away. It's definitely a round to approach with some caution. Those early round defaults could be rewarded when you see the push come out of the defenders to grab an orb or 2, and so far they have been relentlessly aggressive.
Let's see. Once again, Garnet setting up into mid. I'm looking at that also, the Omen KO. We've seen this so many a time. Foxy as well. They are looking to brawl in the early stages of this round, but for DRX, it's looking like much more of a default, much more of a patient affair as they spread out, waiting for what Talon has to offer.
The players outside B, they've got to be careful already. Wallbang's coming through. Sushi Boys not on the Odin this time. The threat is a little bit lower.
He still hit Buzz. Like, he still hit him.
If that was an Odin, it could have been the kill. But the finances here, the real issue in this last round. You know, Chip Boys is even having to play with a stinger in hand, focusing on his utility for his teammates instead. Garnets is going to be forced out of this corner by the looks of it. Again, that drone coming through to cause problems, and it's even going to be revealed and taken down. Huge kill.
Yeah, finally able to punish him for his shenanigans. Operator actually picked up by Foxy. He goes straight back. No fear from this man. Okay, he's tagged desperately low, but that is a worthwhile trade to get rid of Zest. Get rid of a lot of that utility, and again, right place, right time, 3 players, blast through, they're waiting in the smoke, but every kill goes well the way of DRX, other than the TK. Crew's still fighting around the edge, but RB is doing everything. And now Foxy, we saw him tag low, 1v2, to try and gift his team the half.
He could be coming from anywhere. That's the upside to play with. But you also have to remember, RB's going to have his knife. I think it should still be 20 seconds or so away. But it won't have a chance to come back online. That was only 5, so that would have been a disaster anyways. 6-6 at the halftime. DRX have done well to come back into that. They lost the pistol, they've kept it even. I think, for now at least, they can come out of this with a smile on their face, especially if you're anyone but Buzz. You know, he got team killed that round. I'm sure he won't be delighted, but it is what it is.
Well, they have managed to weather the storm. They've managed to fight back versus the craziness of Talon. But they're going to have to do it again in the second half. We'll see what the Des thinks of that.
Thank you very much, Mitch and Tom. Yes, 6-6 at the half. Not bad if you're a DRX fan, but Bren, we got to throw back and look back on all of the stories we've been setting up. It is once again Buzz versus Garnet here.
Yeah, I mean, just the continuation of the same storyline, the same battle taking place between the rookie and the vet, and they are really just going head to head. Just when you think one player might be getting an advantage, Garnet pulls out rounds like this. Oh. Absolutely disgusting. I mean, here's the same play again, just in case you miss it, but it was just back and forth, back and forth. I think the follow-up round was this one where Garnets, they do a tiles crunch, which was a classic play that DRX should be ready for, but then immediately overheats, and then they just punish it again. Buzz gets 2. I mean, it's just ridiculous back and forth gameplay between the 2 Jet players.
Yeah, it's been so tight between them. They're separated right now by a single kill and 3 assists to Buzz's advantage. Yeah. It's been such a wonderful Jet battle. This is what we were expecting. You know, we knew that it was just going to be some bread and butter comps coming out here for the most part for both these teams. We were going to have that Jet head-to-head, and that's exactly what we have. But it feels like the fate of both of these teams right now in this map, for Talon trying to get a 2-0, for Buzz and DRX getting back into the series, extending it to Icebox, really rests on these guys' shoulders right now.
Yeah, and it's a big test coming up, I think, for Talon if they do want to try and close this out in 2 maps now, because DRX have claimed their 6 rounds that they got now on that attack side. It's a better look than the prior times they played this map, at least at this tournament. So I think DRX are feeling probably pretty comfortable, I think, as we head into that second half.
Yeah, I mean, versus BBL, they started on the defending side. That was an 8-4 half for them. Yeah. Things fell apart for them when they were only able to find 3 rounds on the attack. So 6 should feel very comfortable, but Talon is still a very fiery team. Having them go on the attack, having Garnets play the entry, that could still be the breaking point here for DRX.
Well, we saw Talon come back from a 9-3 before, so who knows what they can do here. Let's jump back into the second half with your casters, Mitch and Tom.
I'm going to have to agree with the Talon pessimism perhaps over there from Seth. You know, the reality is, we heard from him before, they made it back, they made a huge comeback happen, but the reality is their defensive side is where we expect to see them mount that incredible stand. Here on the attack, it's a bit more of a challenge, and DRX are known to be strong on the defense. We'll see if Talon can break through that near impossible hole. DRX
running.
They might not be ready for this pace. I mean, this is so quick. They're already flashing into the site on the reload. And Zest, well, okay, does well to find He's still going as well. 18 health. And he's trying to hold the site while his teammates sprint from the other side of the map. Any damage here would be massive. And now he's got some support, but Foxy's found a kill from the connector with him on 18. This is getting very dangerous. Shock Dart goes through. It might be perfect. Zest has got 4 already. 1 more to seal this round for DRX.
Foxy's trying to play it patient, expecting his opponent to maybe make a misstep, but this is an unorthodox position in this sort of stage in the round. He's going to give it up slightly, make his move, try and use his utility to almost bait his opponent in, get that little bit of extra information, but it's cat and mouse, and he's looked away as Foxy starts to make his way forward in towards the site, just 18 HP, and I don't know if you'll expect it to be here. Zest is going to get the ace to take DRX home the pistol.
What a game this guy is having. Standing on the back of site with a ghost in hand, his first teammate shut down by the flash. And yet he delivers 3 kills, lit to 18 HP, turns into Robin Hood, and that sneaky little hideaway on short. It was a game of cat and mouse, but in the end, Zest, he took down every single member of Talon, claimed the pistol, and has put DRX back into the lead.
Yeah, I think a crucial one at that. A chance for Talon to maybe run away. There are things that Cruz does in this game where I'm like, you're mental. You're actually mental.
It's all right. It's very normal for the smoke player to be the first guy going in. You know, you want that.
And jump peeking into the angle so deep that they can just fully see you.
Yeah, yeah. Again, that's just standard smoker play right there. So that's what we want to see out of our controller, out of our Omen.
They're going back towards him again.
The reality is here, they found the weaker side. There's only one player holding, the problem being that it's Buzz. Or Zest, excuse me, sorry. Buzz on mid.
Wow, they've doubled it up at this point. But they're just farming the orbs. Cruz again is just going to go walking in, hoping that he'd found a timing, but, well, all he's found is his demise. Maybe trying to bait them that this was some sort of luck play, but DRX, as we've seen on the last map, they're not falling for these plays. They've not moved. They are staying in their formation. Foxy might be able to do something here, but no, it makes no difference. And Chip Boy just jumping and right-clicking. A prime gaming flawless again for DRX and the perfect start to the second half.
Sitting 2-0, 2 Bulldogs to work with as well. Yeah, DRX are going to feel good about that, stealing away the lead. And now, as we said, on their defensive side, where things do just look that little bit better. We need the slow-mo on that one, thank you. To be fair, he obviously thought he was going to get shot at. He would avoid the headshot from heaven or something like that. Instead, he did look a little silly, but this is the round that DRX need to be shut down on. They're playing with 3 Spectres, as we said, just the 2 Bulldogs, no ultis even close. Huge advantage for the attackers, and if they are to stop DRX from running away with this, we want to see it here and now at least.
Again, this split coming through. Buzz in prime position to cause them issues, but Garnet once more with a sublime entry. Zest at the back of the site still can't be dealt with, still causing problems, and he combines along with Stacks. It leaves Foxy alone and surrounded. He doesn't stand a chance, just 26 HP. This B site seems to be closed for business as Zest the first time gets an ace, and this time comes out with 3.
Well, I said ultis weren't exactly close to being online. Zest has got his. You know, when you're playing like that, I can't really be too surprised. 9-6, 3 rounds on the board this half. 2 of them were entirely Zest, just holding that site. I cannot understand how he's able to dance and move around. A lot of it comes back to a player like Stacks, who had his own incredible little interaction with these attackers, walking past them in multiple smokes, barely missing, and then stampeding behind them. So one guy turns around and goes, oh, someone behind us, we got to kill. And then out comes Zest to help out. Everything I see about this team, about both of these teams, honestly, is beautiful. But right now on the defensive side, DRX certainly seem to have control over those reins.
Yeah, I think the main thing you have to look at with DRX, and it's always been something we've given them credit for, is communication in what must be absolute chaos. Speaking of absolute chaos, Sushi Boys has bought an Ares to try and wallbang. And it's even more peculiar because they should know by now that Zest has basically been playing backside at every single round.
Yep. It's an ambitious play. And I do wonder if it comes down to trying to take that orb, the fact that you'll often see a shock dart come through, and if that's fired off, you know, with the Ares, it's not a guaranteed kill, but it's pretty damn close, especially if you can see where that shock came from. But yeah, again, that's a big gamble for him being up close. The economy allows it to take place, I guess, so go for it. I'm a bit curious how he's going to fare when it comes to just open fights. He might not need to do anything. Luckily, Garnets has been dropped. Some hope for DRX as they hold on tight to the site. The Ares, well, he did take Stacks down with a headshot, so
there you go.
Worthwhile.
There you go. He got one kill. But again, DRX looking incredibly controlled. I think the interplay, the swings to give space, Marco doing well as the rock within the site. It does seem like the Korean powerhouse has started to awake from their slumber. And now if Talon are going to do it on Ascent, it needs to be now.
It does. Yeah, we've already seen the start of this round. Pistol goes DRX's way. Bonus round goes their way. The follow-up just there with pistols. And, you know, as much as it is still, we're only 4 rounds into the half, because of how the first half went, DRX are on the home stretch. If they win this round, they're pretty much guaranteed a 12-6. At that point, you really do start to think about Icebox, a map where DRX are innovating on the daily. That was so close to nade in.
And trying
bullets just don't land on the way through, and DRX have gotten out with a man advantage. Barely any damage for the Trouble.
They used a lot as well. They threw a season, but it was a little bit late to catch him. Just trying to reactively catch out Buzz, and
that's what they were waiting for.
It hasn't worked out.
That shock dart, if it came in last round, it could have been scary what they'd be up against, but this time, not so much.
God, lockdown available if he takes it. On the other side of things, they have the Hunter's Fury available, so they will be able to destroy it. Although Zest is, okay, that's a dart and a half. Instantly going to start trying to throw out some of his utility as they pressure into the site. Again, Stacks just looking for that timing, but this time the trades are even. However, with already a man advantage in hand and still a man at the back of the site, there is still work to do.
Great flash, that's caught Buzz completely. No way he hits that shot. So we're down to the shorty, up close to try and delete them, and a right click from Foxy puts them back to a 2v2. Talon, this is a round they need so badly, and it looked like it might slip out of their control. In fact, it still may. RB's caught them off with great timing. Foxy, the last man standing. A flash up and over. It buys them space, but they're up against the operator. All they need to do is trade this out, but they won't find it. Here comes the Vandal, and Foxy just needs to find one more. RB returns the fire. 11 on the board for DRX.
It didn't even look like it should have been close. They knew that push was coming. They scanned 3 players heading into that B site. And then the man at the back, I think it was Buzz, just jumping right-clicked around the corner, gave them an avenue back into the round. But now 5 rounds in a row for DRX. And even though it's close, it doesn't make a difference. They are starting to run away with this map. And Talon, well, they're coming back in with what looks like somewhat of a force buy. And still a couple of ults available.
Yeah, I think the ultimates are going to be the big deciding factor in this round. For Talon to pull these out would be a little wild. They don't have a ton to work with, but they do want to try and drain some of DRX's ultimates. This is a recon right up and over, has been spotted and has been deleted. No further trouble to follow on from that. DRX actually canceled pretty much all of their aggression. It's a good thing too, because they are being pressured on the other side, dealing with it very nicely.
Fake TP to try and bait some players into going back the other way, but the fact is, with the spike down, Stacks, if he can hold the line, this round might be over already. Never mind. Cruz is going to kill him off. Spike will be retrieved, but they've still got 2 players to deal with within the site, and they also have a fair amount of time.
On the fallback here, so we're not going to see that operator held up close. Instead, they're going to both play on the very back of the site. Suppression ended, and that's going to lead to the lockdown. They have smokes, but Hunter's Fury comes through, and it's Gallon on point.
Oh, they know where he is. Trying to force him out of the corner, but it just hasn't worked out, and now the rotation's in from RB. They've been so good at hitting the timing through these smokes to catch the players off guard, but the fact is they're still yet to swing to the site. Damage being done, but the double spray down again. The man in the backside that can never be dealt with, Zest, is popping off. And well, 12-6, double the rounds of their opponents. This defensive half has been clean.
6 in a row needed, no pistols to help them out along the way. This is Talon's biggest task in this series. The streak of rounds coming off the back of dominance out of DRX, and this man here captaining the defense for DRX. Just cannot get him out of that boathouse, and it feels like for Talon, you know, they need a solution right now. I would almost be looking at that third map at this point.
They needed a solution a few rounds ago.
They did, you know, because this is the thing. You need at least the bare bones of it, because right now DRX have a fairly two-dimensional strategy that's working again and again, which is Zest Behold. He's just finding round after round. If you're going to get 6 in a row, we need a plan that can consistently deliver, rather. So far, it doesn't seem like we're anywhere close to that.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, RB has been playing fantastically well. Marco is that A site hold. Like, that's the thing. If you can leave your sort of controller player and just hold A, it makes everything else so much easier. It means you can have those faster rotations. It means Stax can risk his life to give Zest that space to play. And now while Marco, it looks like he's going to be tested again. They've got plenty of ults to play with going into this site take, but there will be some on the response.
RB actually has his own, and it's going to be popped right now. No more utility than what's being thrown can come through to play. Those nanos up and over, but they won't be activated. Not while this man is still standing. Mako! Great angle as well! He's taking Garnets! 3 kills with 1 player down in the open. And from this point, what can they do? Run into Mako and die! One after another. 4 kills for him as Jitboys finally falls. And Cruz has to do it all. Oh, he's missed his TP. The time is going to be very low, but he'll make it. Just about to get this plant in. Look at the swing, though, right away. Buzz to find it. 13-6. And the reverse sweep is on the cards. Icebox to close.
Yeah, it's not a map I think you want to be facing DRX unless you have come up with a perfect plan to counter everything they were throwing at C9 the last time they played it. Marco ends up topping the board, but the difference between top to bottom on this DRX side is minimal. Zest with a fantastic hold of the B side, Marco locking down the A side, and then the initiators almost just roaming in between with Buzz. It was a perfect defensive side, and that was the worry. Talon had so many ideas, their defense was brilliant. A few whips here and there actually ended up costing them what could have been a very strong half of their own. The problem is when they went into the attack, okay, they had ideas. Unfortunately, Zest obliterated all of them.
Unbelievable. You know, they tried to test him in so many ways, in so many rounds, but that B hold was just untouchable. In the first half, though, we were very, very close indeed, and I think all hope is not lost for Talon. But up next, Icebox, a very different feel to this map when you see DRX play it. At least previously, if they run that same comp, they play it with the Harbor the way they did, this can be such a difficult map to, I guess, predict what your opponents are doing. And we've seen DRX, when Talon were being fluid, when they were being hard to read, it was a tough game. Now it's DRX's turn.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those games that hopefully they've come up with a plan overnight. Maybe they have something spicy of their own, but that relies on DRX still running the same thing, and we know they have a million ideas. Luckily, it's not up to us to predict, because we're going to go to a break, and then those 3 geniuses are going to do it for us.